Welcome to episode 169 of the Daniel Yoris podcast, Masterclass on Maingaining. Let's go. Welcome back to the podcast. Another solo episode coming at you means another t-shirt that I've got to write off as a tax expense. UFC 300. What an event, by the way. I've been to several UFC events now. I've seen Max live 3 times, once at UFC 300, twice here in Toronto. What an event. That KO over Justin Gaethje still, holds some serious real estate in my head. I don't think I've even scrolled past it once on social media without rewatching, and I must have rewatched it probably 500 plus times now. Absolutely insane. But I will say this. As crazy as that event was, as crazy as that knockout was in that moment with that time, pointing at the ground, all of the things, all the theatrics, there's nothing like a Conor McGregor KO being in the arena. I was also there live for Conor vs. Cowboy back in January 2020, and what a decision that was, by the way, making the decision to go to that event and make that happen in light of everything in the world that happened after January of 2020. There's nothing like a McGregor KO, and I cannot wait for this summer versus Chandler. Unfortunately, I won't be going. Never say never, but anyways, enough about that. That is the intro. I've delayed recording this episode for probably almost an hour now, because I've been tinkering with my setup and whatever. And I know that I've talked about this like so many times in these solo episodes. And every now and then I start tinkering, and then I usually end up right back where I was anyways, or something like that. And it's always just because it's probably not that interesting to you, but I do like to give some insight and kind of take you along for the ride. And like my biggest issue is just like the space that I'm working with. And when I move out of this place in the short to medium future, I'll have a different room set up to be able to do this in, and be able to have some better things. But working with what I got right now, it gets very hot in here in the summer, and then I've got these lights, but if I use natural light, it makes everything look yellow, but then I can't also control it, because then if a cloud comes, then it's weird lighting. It will be darker and lighter and change the focus and change the angle, and like things are moving that I can't control. So anyways, it's very distracting sometimes, but we gotta just move forward and set it up and let it rip, which is a good analogy to segue into some fitness things, where sometimes you can't control all variables. You can't control everything that is going on and what's happening and everything that is happening to you and this, that, and the other thing. You control what you can. You give yourself the best chance of success, and then you let it rip, and that's it. So today we are going to be talking about, and by we I mean me, are going to be talking about Maingaining. That's not a typo. That's not a slip of the tongue. Maingaining, not maintaining. Which is kind of one and the same to a degree. But essentially, the premise is this. There is an issue, obviously, with obesity in North America and in the world. We're pretty good at getting weight loss for people who decide to go on a weight loss journey. We are pretty good at producing that, right? There are plenty of crazy diets and different protocols and different things out there that will get people to lose weight. We've solved that issue, I think. The bigger issue, and the thing that will have more lasting effects, is what do you do after you lose the weight? How do you maintain that? We can go on a challenge, we can go on a cleanse, you can do a 7-day fast, whatever thing you want to do, and you lose 20, 30, 40, 50, 70 pounds, and then what? And then you gain all the weight back. This is the problem. We're losing weight. We're not that good at maintaining the weight loss, and this is where we struggle, and this is what we're going to talk about today. Now, Maingaining is a term, like maybe a little bit more of a bro term, where it's that you're trying to build muscle basically for forever, right? But you're not in a bulk. You're just kind of like training hard. You eat basically at your maintenance level, and you're trying to slowly, very slowly build muscle over time, maybe lose a little bit of fat over time, but you're not really making drastic changes in either direction. And you're just kind of living your life, lifting, getting stronger, getting more jacked, feeling good. And that is Maingaining. It's very fun. It's actually mechanically very easy. Maybe emotionally and practically not as easy, because clearly we have an issue with it, and that's why we slip back into bad habits and all of that stuff. But it's the most important thing. The goal of a weight loss transformation or a fitness program is not to produce a 6-week after photo or a 12-week after photo. It's to produce forever changes in your life. And so we've got to really get down to that and make that happen and make it stick, because that is the goal. You don't want to lose weight if you lose weight, you don't just stop doing things. You can't just, if you stop doing everything that you've been doing, you're going to go back to your old habits, and therefore you haven't actually changed anything. So this is what we're going to get into. Now I'm rambling a little bit. So it doesn't mean, let me start by defining what we're not meaning when we say maingaining or maintenance. This doesn't mean you have to meticulously count every single calorie, track every single thing in your workout, every single thing in your life for forever and ever. And if you don't do that, you won't be able to maintain. That is not what we're setting up for. If you're doing that, then you're doing something wrong here. The thing that you need to know is this. When we speak about calories specifically and on the intake side of things and nutrition, your maintenance calories probably exist in a bit of a window. It's not a specific amount. Say it's 2,000. It's probably in and around there. Maybe it's probably a little higher, but let's just say 2,000 for ease of numbers. It's probably not exactly 2,000. It's probably somewhere between, call it 1,900 and 2,100. So you've got a window. So you don't have to be that exact. Now, the other thing, and I'll kind of probably come back to this a little bit later, is that think about all of the things that, or some of the things that people do that make them struggle to lose weight. The biggest thing I can think of is this. You're really good Monday to Friday. Your diet's clean, you're on point, like you're doing all the things, you're hitting your workouts, whatever. And the weekend comes and it's just a fucking party. And you go out, you're eating, you're drinking, you're doing your thing, you skip a workout, all that, whatever. Monday rolls around, you're right back where you were last Monday. So these people now, it's not that they're moving backwards. Sometimes they can be, but it's not that they're moving backwards. They're just not moving forwards. Now that is extremely frustrating and disheartening if you are trying to lose weight. However, if you're not trying to lose weight, if you're trying to just maintain the body that you've built, then that's pretty much exactly what you're trying to do. And so you can get away with a lot more. That doesn't mean you gotta, be a degenerate on the weekends, but it means you can be a little bit of a degenerate on the weekend sometimes and get away with it. You have a lot more room for error, so to speak. So your nutrition is going to exist on a little bit of a spectrum. You have a little bit of a window. The basic rules still apply though, meaning your protein still needs to be high. If you want to support, maintain, and continue to build muscle and strength, you're going to want to be still hitting in and around that 1 gram per pound of protein. Once again, plug for myself, free plug, free protein guide. I'll put it in the show notes. You can grab it and download it. The link will be there. Tell you everything you need to know about protein. I've talked about it millions of times, but it'll have a whole list of different foods that are high in protein, how much protein they have, like per 100 grams, so you can kind of measure up against what might have more protein, what might have less protein, and pick and choose your favorites, use it as a shopping list, whatever you want. Link will be in the description. It's there. Your protein description is going to be, or prescription rather, is going to be more or less the same, just to, again, maintain and support your muscle and continue to build strength. Now, your training, here's the thing where people fall off. Training, there's no real prescription for this, right? Since we're not trying to do like some crazy hard bulk or some, you might not have a real goal. This is, I think, where a lot of people fall off, in that the problem is a lack of motivation or a lack of a goal. And so once you might be really motivated and really set to hit your goal. I want to lose, again, 15, 25 pounds, whatever it is. And you do all the things to get there. Then you get there and it's like, great, now I can just chill. To some degree, you can just chill. But when you're just chilling, it's easy to slip into those old habits. And so without having something to aim at, you kind of get really lax. You skip workouts because, if I skip this workout, I'm not really aiming for anything anyways, so what's the difference? I can skip this meal or have this junky meal because I'm not really, aiming at anything anyways, so what's the difference? So my recommendation is this. You still need to have training goals, and these are not these are very specifically not fat loss goals, because you're not trying to lose fat. The purpose of training is never to lose fat. That's not how it works. Talk about that ad nauseum. The purpose of training is to get stronger. So you need to have some strength and performance-based goals. Your bench press is 185. Aim to hit that 2-plate bench, hit 225. You want to hit your squats, increase it by 50 pounds. You want to deadlift, 2-3 times your body weight. Choose, it doesn't have to be squat, bench, deadlift. Those are just easy analogies. Choose any type of performance-related goal that interests you or excites you. This way, you've got a reason to go to the gym. You've got a reason to keep the habits up. You've got a reason to maintain your schedule and maintain that training structure. And this is how you get away with kind of being a little bit more lax and doing whatever you want. I've talked about this before, and you've certainly heard this, but you definitely cannot out-train a bad diet. I think that's been well established, right? You can't just eat 5,000 calories of shit food and expect to burn that off every day if you're doing that all the time. However, you can out-train and outwork a diet that's not horrible. There's not a nice kind of cool, sexy way to say that, but if your diet's not horrible, it's just not perfect, you're up by 200 to 400 calories, like you can out-train that. You can walk enough and train hard enough to offset your diet by that many calories. Like that is not a crazy amount of surplus. So understand that you can definitely do that, but you have to actually train. You have to keep your steps up. You have to actually train. And having a goal is the easiest way to maintain your motivation and maintain your discipline so that you're going to be in the gym. It doesn't have to be squat, bench, deadlift. It could be a running goal. It could be sign up for a Spartan race, or do a half marathon. Personally, like I don't care about either of those kind of endurance. The Spartan race, obstacle course racing things seem pretty cool. I wouldn't be surprised if I did one of those one day, but like I can't see myself doing a half marathon or marathon or anything like that. No shade on it. Like if you want to do it, do your thing. It's obviously cool, but have a performance-based goal. On this note of the cardio thing, it's a good time to introduce like this concept of a hybrid athlete or hybrid training. I was thinking about this earlier, and it's like we as the fitness industry have bullied CrossFit so hard that people don't even want to call themselves CrossFit athletes anymore. They just reinvented a name to call themselves hybrid athletes. Like this hybrid athlete wave is just another internet buzzword, and like, sure, cool, whatever. Doesn't really mean anything. It's like guys who lift and run. And it's like, oh, it's kind of just an athlete. Like that's just a regular person. So I don't know what they're training for. I don't know what there's no hybrid athlete sport. It's not, at least CrossFit is a sport. Like there is a competition and a league and whatever. Hybrid athlete is just a hilarious thing. But it's a good time to, if you want to roll with that buzzword as someone who tries to lift, tries to run a little bit, you're not trying to be an elite athlete at either things, you just want to be like generally fit. Yeah, that is an athlete in general, or you call yourself a hybrid athlete if you want to be part of that club. Cool, do your thing. But the thing is, you have to still have a goal. It's very important to have a goal, something to train for, something to chase after, something to organize your workouts around, just purely for the purposes of the motivation and the discipline that come along with it. On the topic of outworking your diet, I have a story to tell. There was I made that sound so dramatic. It's not that dramatic at all. Side note, it's so hot in here. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but it's fucking, I'm roasting right now. This little story. I have a client who has her daughter recently had a baby about almost a year ago, not quite a year yet. And I saw her. I know her as well. And I saw her, and we were just chatting, and she was saying how she's excited to get back into the gym soon, and she misses it, even though right now, I think she's like 10 months after she had the baby. She's skinnier now than she was at her wedding, which in her words, she's like, I'm skinnier now than I was at my wedding, and I trained 6 months for that, and I haven't even worked out once since I had the baby. And I thought about that, and I was like, okay, it was a fun comment, whatever, and we chatted, and I was thinking about it after. I was like, oh, how is this possible, and how is this relatable and helpful to anyone else? And it's this. She trained for 6 months, she said, before, which I didn't know her at this time, for her wedding, to get in shape, do her thing, which is, cool, great, awesome. And now she hasn't been training, and she has been busy with her newborn baby, yet she's somehow skinnier, thinner, and she also said, I'm thinner, but I'm way weaker than I was before. So that's an important ththing to highlight here as well that I missed in the beginning. She's thinner, skinnier, lighter on the scale, but weaker than she was before. And she goes, how does it happen? So, well, you move way more than you did before. She was working before. She hasn't gone back to work after her baby. So, sitting at a desk makes you not move that much. And sure, you do your workout and you do your thing, but like an hour a day is not really enough to offset the other 23 hours of the day that you may be sitting on your butt. With her newborn, she's up and all over the place. Like, she's always on the move. She barely, ever gets a chance to sit down. She also forgets to eat often and doesn't eat that much. And so all of these things contribute to actually like making you lose weight. And so she's outworking her diet in a sense, because she's not really eating and she's moving so much more that she's making herself lose weight. Now, she's not strong. She's weaker than she was, which is not a good thing, and she knows that, and that's why she's excited to eventually get back in the gym once childcare is sorted and, whatever stuff that's going on in her life. But the important thing to note here is that she's moving so much more, and that's the thing that helps her to unintentionally, not helps her is the wrong word. It's the thing that is causing her to lose weight without even necessarily trying to lose weight. An inverse example of this is if you're like on a really long flight, and it's not really the same, but it's close enough. If you're on a really long flight, they'll give you a couple of meals, right? Depending on how, I don't know what the hour to meals ratio is exactly, but like say they give you like 2 meals or 3 meals. You feel like you're stuffed, even though the airplane meal portions are not that big. And it's kind of because you're just sitting there doing nothing. And so you've had 2 or 3 meals, but you've literally been sitting on the plane for, 8, 10, 12, 15 hours if it's a really long flight, or even longer. And you feel like, well, how am I stuffed? This is not like, it wasn't that much food. Airports are not known for being super generous with the portions, but since you haven't moved, you've burned, like you're just staying alive. Like you're not moving at all. And so that's the opposite. That's the opposite of, that's not outworking the diet, where the diet is not even that bad. It's not the highest quality food, obviously, on an airplane and all that stuff, but calories-wise, it's probably not horrible because you're just not eating that much. However, your movement is effectively zero. You'll burn calories just from staying alive and your heart beating and whatever, but other than that, you're burning essentially nothing. And so that is a way unbalanced caloric expenditure. This is all just to prove the point and to paint the picture that if your diet is not horrible, that you eat pretty well, which most people at least claim that they eat pretty well. If you're not obese, you eat pretty well. You can train hard enough or enough and move enough, walking, whatever, you're walking your dog, doing your thing, to offset that, to not make any changes. You won't make any positive changes, but if you've done the work to make those changes that you want, get down to the body weight and body composition that you want, you're then trying to, for the rest of your life, just maintain that. It's pretty easy to do this. So you really need to pull on that exercise lever. It is unbelievably important. It is also going to be the thing that makes you continue to feel good aside from all of the calorie things. And I can't believe that this is even a conversation that I feel the need to have right now. It's the thing that makes you feel good. It makes you strong. It makes you mobile. It makes you able to do the things you want. It has the most mental health benefits. No one is getting mental health benefits from like eating a salad instead of eating chocolate chip cookies. Like that is maybe the aggregate of eating well makes you healthier mentally for sure. But the mental health benefits are immediate and direct from going to the gym, lifting weights, getting your heart rate up, getting sweaty, like exerting your body physically, and then recovering from that. That is where the mental health benefits come from. So all of those other benefits, the calorie burn side of exercise is so small and so almost insignificant in the grand scheme of all of the things. It is the 7th or 8th coolest thing or most important thing about exercise. So this is the biggest lever to pull. You need to get on your exercise game and stay committed to it. You need to develop a program, buy a program, ask for a program, follow a program, do something, follow some structure so that you're aiming towards something so that you can then stay committed to the gym, stay committed to your goals, and not fall off the wagon. Because I promise you, it's really not that hard. All you have to do is basically do the stuff that other people do that makes them not be able to lose weight. What a rant. So, this is the more difficult thing. The scale of time that we're talking about is very, very long. If you embark on a weight loss challenge or a thing, you want to hire a coach for 3 months or for a year to help you lose 20 pounds. It's way easier in our mind to think about 3 months or a year or, these kind of shorter amount of times. You can change your habits and you can change the things that you're doing in short bursts, and it's relatively easy to do so. It's very difficult to think about changing the way you do things and changing your lifestyle from now until forever. I'm 29. I know that if you're listening to this, you're probably not too far away from my age. You can see the analytics and whatever, but I get it. You're probably not too far away from my age. Some of you maybe are older, some of you are less. There's a lot more life to live. I plan on living until I'm past 100. That's 70 more years, right? I can think about what I'm doing next week. I can, plan out my workouts for the next 3 months. I can plan out my workouts for the next year-ish. It's very hard to think about what's happening 70 years down the road and how everything is going to be. And, what macros am I going to have? What are my workout goals going to be? What are my fucking whatever? Like the very specific things. Like you can't possibly predict, know, and stick to those things if you laid it out from now until the rest of your life. So here's how you do that. You change who you are as a person. You change your identity as a human being and the things that you do from someone who is doing this weight loss challenge or doing this workout because I want to lose weight, because I want to fit into a suit, because I want to look good in the summer, because I want to look shredded when I take my shirt off at the beach. You change your personal identity from that to someone who just works out, someone who eats healthy, someone who does those things because that's what they do, because it's just part of them. You wake up, you brush your teeth because you're a human being who has personal hygiene. You wake up, you brush your teeth, you go to the gym because you're a person who respects themselves, who cares about their health, and people who do that work out. They exercise, they go to the gym, they run, whatever it is you do. You need to change that personal identity. I know that this may be a little bit woo-woo, a little bit out there, kind of, but you need to not be someone who is saying that exercise is a thing that you're doing now or a thing that you have to do, or I'm doing this so that, honestly, even if you're saying that I'm doing this only for my mental health, you're not doing this for a thing, because once that thing is gone, once your mental health is good, once you've lost the weight, once you've hit that bench press PR, once you've done, whatever, you get abs and you look good at the beach, then the workout no longer has a purpose in your life. You need to make the workout just a thing that you do. You're a fit person. You go outside for walks. You eat healthy. You drink water. You go to sleep early. You wake up early. You don't have your phone in your bed. You don't engage with negativity and nonsense on social media. You exercise regularly. You eat healthy foods. You enjoy treat foods and junk foods and stuff occasionally, but it's a very, very small percentage of your diet. These are just the things that you do as a human being. If you can identify as that, if you can start to make that change and make that mental switch in your mind as to why you're doing these things, everything else is so easy. The core message of everything in this podcast, not this episode, the entirety of my podcast, is that consistency is the number one factor that is going to make all of these positive changes. There are so many people out there who do, on paper, very suboptimal workouts, don't have a great diet, don't have perfect habits, but they have been at it relentlessly for years and years and years. And you look at them and they're strong, they're healthy, they look pretty jacked, and they're happy. And so we can get real nitpicky about, and I like to be nitpicky about it because this is my passion and this is what I do, and I know a lot about it, and so I like to, we can optimize things where we need to optimize. We can get nitpicky about the hows and the whats and the specifics and whatever, but at the end of the day, the thing that matters is, are you doing it? Are you showing up? And so these people who are doing things by all definitions imperfectly and suboptimally, but they're doing the damn thing day in, day out, year after year, and getting the results, they are the person. They have told themselves that they are a person who just does those things. They probably don't even think about having to go to work out or having to eat healthy or having to do these things. It's just what they do. On Monday mornings at 7 a.m., they're in the gym and they're hitting chest. And that's just what they do. Some Mondays they miss it, and that's fine. But every single time that they can, they're in there doing the things that they have identified themselves as doing. So listen, it's not about like strategies, hacks. Like, I haven't really given a ton of prescriptive, use that term loosely, prescriptive advice here, but it's all the same stuff. Train 3-4 times a week, 5 times a week if you like. Walk your 8 to 12,000 steps a day. More is better if you can. Get outside every day. Nutrition. Keep your calories within check. 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight-ish. A little bit less is fine. Carbs and fats, the rest of the distribution doesn't matter. To find your maintenance level, track your weight, track your calories for a bit. When those things start to equal out, when you're eating X calories and your weight is more or less stable, then you found your maintenance weight. It's really that easy. If you eat 2,000 calories a day and you weigh yourself every day, and after 2 weeks, your weight on average, because it will fluctuate up and down, but on average, it is the same, then you found your maintenance calories of 2,000 calories. That's really how simple it is. And as a complete aside, if you found that and you're in a position where you want to lose weight, well, then you know that 2,000 is making your weight stay stable, so you can just minus a little bit from that, and boom, there you go. Free calorie calculator for you. The calories thing is really very simple. But anyways, you find your maintenance calories, you eat in and around that, and also because you are trying to maintain your weight, the specifics matter a lot less. You don't need to hit as much. You don't need to hit an exact deficit or an exact number or whatever every day, because you have that bit of a window. There's that buffer zone of maintenance. You can be up a day, you can be down a day, and you're not trying to make progress, so you have a lot less room for error. So you can really, once you kind of figure it out, you can really go by feel and just kind of eat until you're satisfied, not until you're stuffed, unless you intentionally want to eat until you're stuffed. It's a particularly good meal at a nice restaurant or a holiday or something like that. And you'll be just fine doing that. Like, you don't really need to track. You can very loosely track based on the amount of protein that you're eating, but after a while of meticulously tracking it, you'll know what 100 grams of protein is, what 30 grams of protein is, what a day filled of 150 or 200 grams of protein is. And you can eyeball it pretty closely, easily enough to maintain. Now, one other thing that I just thought of is that might not be the case. If you're trying to maintain like sub 10% body fat, you've got a lot less room to move here. But most people are not trying to do that. You listening to this, you are probably not trying to do that. And that's very fine and probably ideal. Like, I'd say that for guys, you want to get down to probably around like 15% or lower. And then you just want to maintain around there. And then the beauty of that is this. Once you're there and you're at this like very coasting, easy to follow maintenance level, if you have an event coming up or a vacation or, just it's summertime and you want to tighten up for a little bit, you can do a 4 or 6 week little cut your calories by a bit, increase your cardio, do all the things to cut that we've talked about a million times, and go back 2 episodes to listen to that summer shredding guide. you can just do that for like a short amount of time, tighten up. You get down from, your 14.5% where you sit down to, 13%, and you look just a little leaner. You get that little confidence boost, and boom, you're ready for summer. You're ready for vacation. You're ready for whatever it is that you want to feel a little bit leaner for. And it wasn't that hard to get there. You just tightened up for like a couple weeks, and that's it. And then you're ready. So you're always closer to the time when you want to tighten things up. Now, that's obviously not main-gaining because you're actually losing at that point, but you're very close if you want to, rather than the opposite of that, which would be do some sort of like bulk or just kind of not intentional bulk where you gain weight and then now you've got 30 pounds to lose to get ready for vacation or summer or what have you, versus, hey, I just want to tighten up a little bit. I'll lose about 5 pounds over a month, which is like pretty easy to do for most people. Like you could simply do that. Like that's not an aggressive amount is what I mean by that. You can pretty easily and quickly lose 5 pounds. And that's enough for you to tighten up because you're not trying to get like, dick skin shredded. You're just trying to get a little leaner to feel slightly more confident taking your shirt off. But in theory, you should be sitting at a body fat percentage and a body composition year round where you are comfortable to take your shirt off, wear a suit, wear a dress, wear a, whatever it is that you need to feel comfortable wearing whatever type of clothing or in any type of situation. This is why I've said partly like for, it's so fucking hot in here, man. For my own, for my own wedding coming up, it's like, I'm struggling a little bit with like the motivation and the drive on it because like, I don't feel this need to like get in crazy shape for it. First, I'm wearing clothes. I'm going to be shirtless at like wearing a Speedo at my wedding. So that like I'm wearing clothes. And then other than that, it's like I'm good with where I'm at now. So I could just do that now. So like trying to like get better, and not that I'm some fucking Adonis. Like I'm definitely not. I definitely do want to improve my physique for a lot of other reasons, but the motivation is not that strong because like it's kind of far away and all that thing. So anyways, you don't want to have to be like so far away from having to get ready for an event or a vacation or something. And by keeping yourself at a solid maintenance level that you like, you're always closer to getting ready for those little things that you want. So main-gaining is the way. It's the most fun way to be and to exist. It's actually very easy, extremely practical, because you can get away with a heck of a lot. You've got tons of wiggle room. It's really fun because your training will always be properly and adequately fueled. Whereas when you're trying to lose weight, like you're cutting food out, you're not sleeping as great, you have less energy, like, yeah, your workouts are going to suffer a little bit because you're under fueling yourself on purpose. But when you're in this like perpetual maintenance and again, main gaining, you're constantly fueling yourself adequately. So therefore your workouts are great all the time and you should feel great like basically all the time. And that's where you want to live. You don't want to be in this cycle of lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight. Like it's a bad place to live physiologically. It's a bad place to live psychologically. It's a bad place to live for many, many reasons. It's exhausting and you're not really solving the issue. So to kind of sum this up and end this, I know I've kind of rambled a lot in here. The heat in this room is frying my brain. Do your diet. Go back 2 episodes, that summer shredding guide, extrapolate that over the course of a summer and listen to anything else that I've talked about on fat loss. Do that. Get down to your preferred weight, body composition, not weight, but your preferred body composition where you feel healthy, happy, and good about yourself. For most dudes, it's going to be somewhere in and around 15-ish%. For most women, probably somewhere, it's more variable with women, but it's going to be somewhere in around, I don't know, like 22, 23%, maybe up to 25%, something like that. But for most dudes, around 15%. And then just stay there. Stay there. Eat your protein, train hard. If you eat a lot one day, eat a little bit less the next day. You can, be tight during the week. You can be a little bit degenerate on the weekends as long as you're not overdoing it, and just keep track. If you see your weight start creeping up, then just rein things back in. You just always got to be paying attention. Always got to be paying attention. Never let yourself get so far off. You're going to have bad weeks and good weeks and all this stuff. But as long as you're paying attention to what's going on, you're never going to let yourself get so far out of where you should be that it becomes a problem and you've got to do this transformation and your clothes don't fit and all other shit. So get where you need to be and then stay there. Stay there, train hard, enjoy training, have a program, make some performance goals, and then fucking get after it. Because that's the best training. It's the most fun training, and that's where you're going to get the best results in the gym. And then over time, like, your physique will continue to improve and all that stuff as well. I'm going to end this here. This is one of those things where I'm supposed to like talk more about my own coaching and promote myself and whatever. And it's always weird because I try and like force it in and you know, sneak it in and things, but you know that I'm a coach. If you want coaching, you're on help with your Maingaining, you need performance goals, you need to understand how to structure a correct workout program, hit me up. If you don't know how to find me by now, you should, unless you're finding me for the first time, in which case this is awesome. But hit me up on Instagram, send me an email, or go through my website, whatever, all of those things. I will be coming out with, over the summer, some like pre-made workout programs that I've been testing with myself and with a few clients in but in specific situations where some of them are going to be shorter workouts. Some of them are like more days per week. Some of them are less days per week. And so it'll have a couple of different options. They'll all be separate, and you'll be able to kind of select like, hey, I'm the kind of person who I've only got, 20, 30 minutes a day to work out, or I'd really like to go to the gym 5 or 6 days a week, or like, hey, I can only get 2 days a week in the gym, and kind of these type of scenarios, mostly around building muscle, and then the diet portion will come along with that as well, and you kind of just modulate up and down from wherever you're at. But anyways, those will be coming out not soon. I'm not going to put a date on it, but like over the next couple of months, let's say into the summer and heading into the fall season, it should be all ready. So if you are interested in that at all, get on my email list. That will be the best place to learn about it, get the updates, Instagram, all those things. Cool. I'm going to shut up now and get the fuck out of this room. It's so hot in here. Appreciate you. Like, share, subscribe to the podcast, all those good things. Go outside, be a good person. See you next time.